right, welcome to Heritage Outdoors, where today we're going to be talking about my passion, what got me started into archery, and just basically introducing you to the person who did introduce me to the passion that I have with archery and the outdoors. So, if you will, welcome my father, William Seifert. Thank you so much.
Well, thank
All
you.
right,
Thank you.
go ahead and introduce yourself to not to
Okay,
me.
well, hello, William Seifert. I'm pastoring here in Lancaster, Ohio. Um, so, I first time ever doing something like this, so hopefully we'll be okay.
Same. We had to kind of change where we were and everything just to make things work. Get away from all the phone calls and everything. But what we've talked about this for a while. So what was your first memory with archery? How did you get introduced to it?
Okay.
And just go ahead.
My first memory is as a boy, way back there, and bows were not like they are today. They just started coming out with compound bows. Most of the people shooting at that time were using recurves, and my two brothers, which were much older than I was. I'm the last of 10 in my family. So my brothers being, 18 and 15 years older than me, they were already well grown and established. Maybe I don't know if they were already married or what, but anyway, so they had these bows. My dad was one that did a lot of guns. It was just more guns and no bows in the home, at least our home. And so my brothers started using the bow, deer hunting,
Okay.
and back then it was strictly just buck only. The deer population wasn't like it was even today, and so bringing a deer, getting a deer with a bow was really quite impressive. And
Okay.
so anyway, that's how I remember the bow. And evidently, as a boy, excited about seeing the bow, thinking Robin Hood, and
Right.
and it couldn't be that hard, right? So you just get a bow and you pull back and ring, and you get what you're aiming at. Well, anyway, that's not that's not how it works. But so my dad, this is mushroom season coming up, and my dad was always in the woods during mushroom season.
Okay.
And one particular day, he brought home uh, a, a a bow that he had made with grapevine.
Okay.
So he had seen a grapevine and he had chopped it, got a piece about that long, and he put baling twine on it. And so that was my first recurve bow that I tried to shoot everything. I was shooting, I shot at. Let's put it that way.
Put it that way.
Yeah, because honestly, I couldn't. I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I just could not hit nothing with it. And so basically, my growing up years, as far as a child, the the bow was more of just a toy, because I couldn't take anything serious about bow hunting. Um, so anyway, that's how it was. One funny story um, was when I had two nephews. Of course, my
Being
sister, yeah,
that much younger.
that much, yeah, and her being that much older, she had children. And that were my age, and so they thought I was Robin Hood because I had a bow. Again, I couldn't hit nothing. But we were going to go.
So about how old were you with this?
Oh, maybe 8, 9 years old.
8, 9 years old.
And so, and you had many acres and plenty of woods, and so me and my two nephews, we were just walking around and just trying to shoot something. Of course, we weren't quiet enough. Yeah, shoot at something.
At something.
And we weren't quiet or anything like that. And So we come up to a fence. Well, this fence. So we climbed over this fence, and when we just got over the fence, we didn't know we were.
That age,
Um, anyway, we heard a voice, and it wasn't God's voice. We heard this. What are you kids doing on my property? And I was ready. I mean, I was
Instinct.
ready. Yeah, climb back over the fence, right? Well, my other nephew, because he was following me, thinking, whatever I did was right, and it wasn't. So he starts explaining to this. Who knows? I didn't know where he was for one.
Okay.
And so and I didn't know who he was. But anyway, he's explaining to where this voice is, that we were shooting bows and nanos.
Bows and
nanos. he couldn't pronunciate the bows and arrows, and so anyway, he's like, "You're what? We're shooting bows and nanos," and he's like, "I don't know what you're doing, but get out of here." So anyway, that was the amount of my bow hunting career. Outside of that, I was just trying to shoot a jug. Honestly, Andrew, if I set it 3 yards from me, I couldn't hit. I couldn't even hit a water jug.
Close.
Well, yeah, but yeah. So anyway, I was basically just shooting it to out and just see how far you could shoot it. Go across the ridge. We go up, up. Well, I got this bright idea. You didn't do that, did you?
Yeah.
You pull the bow straight back, and I thought I could see if I could shoot it straight up. Now, why I thought that I could maybe catch it, I don't know, but I remember I thought I was see if I can shoot it straight up, and so I'm trying to judge, and I pull it way back, and whing, and I'm watching it, and it just disappears. I thought, where'd it go? Oh man, I could, because when we're shooting from ridge to ridge, you could see the arrow,
right?
And we were kids and had all kind of energy, and so we'd run down over the ridge and back up and find your arrows and shoot them back. But anyway, so I shot straight up, and I lost it. It disappeared. I couldn't see it anymore, and so must have went to China. I don't know where it went. Okay, so anyway, I shrugged my shoulders and started walking away, and so when I walked away, my dad had an old pickup truck, and the arrow just wham right dab in the middle of that hood of the pickup truck.
Bounced off the hood of his pickup truck.
Yeah, well, see, my arrows didn't have very sharp points to them. They were just kind of a blunt thing. Fortunately, it did make a pretty good dent, no hole. But, oh man, I thought, I'm done for. So I act like nothing happened. And, it's hard to like, not see a dent on a hood of a truck, especially when you're driving. Big old dent. My dad, he eventually figured out what had happened, and
that was the end of your bow.
Well,
did you still have it, or did it?
I don't know. It might just how your brain sometimes shuts down just to keep you from really losing your mind. It might be one of those times where I can't remember, honestly. I don't know what happened, but okay. I do know it scared me. I thought, man, don't ever do that. And kids, don't ever do that. It's real dangerous.
Don't ever do that, especially with today's bows and arrows. Like
it could have. I mean, if I had been good enough to go straight up, and if it came straight back down, it would have went right through my head. I mean, it's just dangerous. So anyway, that's how I got introduced to bow hunting.
So who was the person who kind of like pointed you in the right direction as far as like what you should do, what you shouldn't do?
Yeah.
Besides,
Well, like I said, my dad, he was more just using a gun, and so it was my older brother, but not the oldest. So my brother Tom, he really helped me, uh, allowed me, I should say, allowed me to tag along, follow him, and watch him, and whenever he got something that he didn't no longer need, he was
Was
we
passed
had
down.
right. So he wasn't old enough to pass down his clothes, but he did pass down. So he had a Browning bow uh, that it was a crossbow or a compound bow, and I bought it off of him for $50, which back then
Back
fifty
then.
dollars is you know $50. It was still cheap though, and so he gave me
And
some.
this is the one that I remember you seeing, right? Growing up. Is
Yeah,
that the one?
yeah.
So this was like first edition Brownie.
Yeah,
It was
very. Yeah, there
heavy.
was no let off. I mean, there was maybe 5% let off or something. It sure wasn't a whole lot.
Right.
And so anyway, that's so he introduced me, helped me kind of get going, and encouraged me, not to give up. And what was nice about that was, when he didn't have great expectations himself, as far as he wasn't using small patterns of hitting and something like that. He was, if he hit the target, that was good. His concept was, a deer is a pretty good size animal, and if you can hit the lungs and the heart area, uh, you can you can bring down a deer. So his concept was, this size versus what today's
Right.
concept is, just that bullseye. So you know he encouraged me in that,
So
and
I'm not meaning to interrupt,
no.
but what did Uncle Tom use as far as like, I mean, was he using sights, release,
Oh,
that type of stuff? And what made you kind of
okay,
upgrade, so to
right.
speak?
So yeah, he gave me the fingers.
Well, hopefully you were born with those.
No, no, I meant one of those glove leather
The
fingers.
the glove.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you put it on, you strap it on, and that's what he used, and had the pins,
Okay.
and no peep sight. Again, he came from the recurve to the crossbow, and so
For the compound.
yeah, compound, and so um, this new technology stuff wasn't there, and even though I got a newer bow than my grapevine bow as a child, I still there was just, I think, looking back and things, I
You're
wasn't
fighting to beat the
using
stream.
right, and on the edges and stuff. But anyway, in that process of hearing, people were telling me, that they got other things for bows nowadays, and so a release, trigger release,
Okay.
um, and so it's like, hey, I need all the help I can get. And so we was at a store, and it was clearance sections,
Right.
and I got a release, and fortunately for me, you know, uh, the Lord was merciful to guide me to what I feel like has been what helped me in such a way. I got a release that I feel so comfortable, and still use that same type of release today. So anyway, getting the release, and the word peep sight. I didn't know what a peep sight was. My brother told me, "Oh, you don't need that stuff." Well, I did.
Still do.
Yeah. And so I honestly don't know. But anyway, so getting all of that together, and that just made a world of difference for me. And I think bow hunting, you need to have some measure of confidence.
You do. You
And
do. Absolutely.
before the trigger release, before the peep sight, there was no confidence. I wouldn't have even been proud for you to see me shooting. maybe you boys could have shot a lot better than me. I just couldn't use the fingers. just couldn't. So anyway, began to get started, and then you boys were now getting old enough to maybe do something together, and I wanted to do something where we could be together. Um, so um, guns scared me as thinking about,
Well, there was a lot of accidents and stuff that
well,
was happening too.
yeah, but I thought, for a bow, knowing what I was doing as a boy, bows were somewhat safe, and 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 what I heard, you boys getting into even with a bow. But
That's for another time.
yeah, that is another time. But anyway, so that's kind of where we were going. So I felt like um, if I could get a connection with you on something, and Aaron, getting a connection with something that we can do in the woods. You boys love the woods anyway. Um, then uh, that would be our family time, and so you boys you took the bow so much more serious than I did.
Well, it looked like you were taking it pretty serious. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were trying to get to the level that you
Oh,
were at
really?
from our perspective.
Yeah, yeah.
How were we when we got the bows? I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah. Man, I don't
8,
know.
9, 10,
Yeah,
somewhere in
maybe you might have been 10 and he was 8.
there. Okay.
And so getting that, but man, you guys were just constantly shooting targets and those kind of things, and it wasn't anything that we just had to make time for. It was something that we enjoyed doing.
We did. We
And
enjoyed it a lot.
and it
Still
was
do.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, all right. So that's the first part of this, and I appreciate you for tuning in and listening. And we will come back for part 2 soon. Thank you. I don't know.